Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld. Welcome back to the 737. Our previous flight we saw the 787 for the first time in a long time, and we're actually going to be returning to the 737 for a little bit with Ryanair flight 3187 today from Manchester, which is where we are right now. We've currently got the catering on the go. Lovely day, not many clouds. In fact, there are quite a few clouds, but they're very sort of bright-ish, if you will, if that even makes sense. Not sure if we're at the right gate. We're at gate... Which gate are we actually at? Let me have a look. 52. And we're going to be taking Ryanair 3187 from Manchester to some brand new scenery, to my scenery library, not brand new in general, to Madrid. Lima Echo Mike Delta. And I'd like to thank my friends over at flightsim.com for providing me with this very, very kindly. It's the Aerosoft, or is it SimWings? Through Aerosoft, I'm not entirely sure, but it's Madrid scenery anyway. And we're going to do a nice short 2 hour and 15-minute flight from Manchester to Madrid just to check it out. And after that video has finished, after we've landed, I'm also going to be doing another video to actually review the scenery as well. I've had a chance to take a look at it in the night time, in the daytime, if I can get my words out. It looks really, really nice. It's got some nice features, and I really am looking forward to doing a review. So, that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So here we are in the cockpit. GSX is asking us to close the doors for the catering, because that's all done, so we can request boarding as well, and I'm going to open the doors for that. Fuel and payload, so let's just go into the fuel page. We're going to be taking a total of 9,420 kilograms of fuel today. Why is it in pounds? I don't actually know why that is. Let me just go to aircraft displays. It should be in kilograms. Right, let's try this again. So, 9,420. We're going to use, let's just go back into payload. We're going to use a random sort of payload today. Boarding passengers now, according to GSX. Not really. I mean, they're on the way somewhere, I'm sure, but they're not actually here yet. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and request clearance as well.
Clearance delivery, Ryanair 3187.
Auto brake RTO.
Position is gate 52 with latest request clearance.
Ryanair 3187. Expect clearance within 2 minutes.
So we're just going to wait for clearance. That's fine. That's no problem at all. We can switch on the aft fuel pump. ISO valve to auto. Start the APU. We've got the wheel well light already on for the walk around. That's okay. We can arm the emergency lights and switch on the seatbelt signs. IRSs can go to nav. Our cruise level today is going to be flight level 320.
Ryanair 3187. Are you ready?
And here comes clearance.
We're ready. Go ahead.
Ryanair 3187. Roger. Runway 05 left. Climb and maintain flight level 70. Expect flight level
So 7,000 feet.
within 10 minutes after departure.
And 05 left, which is 054 on the heading.
25 squawk 4707 QNH 1019er.
We can set the TCAS to XPDR.
Expect flight level 320 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 1.
And we can go ahead and sort out the route. I do believe that we're not using any particular SID today. I'm not sure why, but departure is not given as a SID, which is a bit unusual. So pausing it, we are at Echo Golf Charlie Charlie, gate 52. GPSL position, we can grab it and stick it in there. EGCC-LEMD with 05 left. And RYR3187 today. Activate and execute. Zero fuel weight is 52.6. The reserves are going to be 1.11 today, with a cost index of 6 and a cruise level of 320. Transition altitude is 6,000. We're going to be using 24k D rate with flaps 5. And let me just grab some winds. So, Echo Golf, Charlie Charlie, 50 at 3. There we go. So V2 speed is 144 knots. However, that might change because we're going to do the depart page as well. So departures, we're not using a departure. Arrivals, we're using the Orbi 4 Alpha, which is there. For ILS, Zulu 18 right, which is there. And we're going to use the LALPI transition, which is there. So no SID, which is unusual, but there we go. No discontinuities, that's all good. We can go ahead and put the fix information in. So LEMD. Just put some fix rings around the airport. Got a bit of an error message. No destination path after Manco. That's fine, no problem at all. We can manage. What's going on with the passengers then? Have we got a passenger bus? Well, we have, but I don't know what's happening. Whether there's... Is it going in the right direction? No, it appears to be going away from us. So either some passengers... In fact, no. That's not for the passengers. That's the pilots and the crew. That's fine. I just had a blank moment then. Right, apologies about the temporary sound loss. We're going to go ahead and... LNAV's not going to arm because we've not got a SID. That's perfectly normal. That's fine. We've got the engine page open. Let's go ahead and switch on the yaw damper. Should probably transfer the APU power as well, to be honest. And the window heats. Flight directors, they're already on. Auto brake is set to RTO. And we are literally now just waiting for the doors to be closed, which we can't do until boarding is complete. So, let me give TCAS a quick test. Hopefully it's all okay. We should be departing at 10:25 AM local time, or 9:25 Zulu. TCAS has passed, that's fine. At 9:25 Zulu is our scheduled departure time, or the time that this actual flight departed in real life. It's currently 9:11 Zulu. And we are actually using the registration of this actual in real life flight as well, if I can get my words out, which is Echo India, Echo Foxtrot Yankee. So, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm actually going to tell you guys the information about this flight right now while the boarding's on the go. So, we are going to be travelling for around 2 hours and 15 minutes. We should be departing at 9:25 Zulu and arriving at 11:40 Zulu. Our flight level today is flight level 320, and we're taking Ryanair flight Romeo Yankee Romeo, or RYR3187. We're at gate 52, and let me just see what Pro ATCX says about the distance for this flight. So the distance is 812 nautical miles, so under 1,000, nice and short, 2 hours 15 minutes. Hopefully it'll stick to that exact amount of time. Have we got a lot of passengers? I've increased the density of passengers. We've got the stuttering that happens because of that, unfortunately. But as you can see, we do have passengers boarding the aircraft. I hate this stuttering, it really does mess things up for me. But nevertheless, I will catch up with you guys once we've had a chance to get all the passengers on board, which for me is going to be an eternity. For you guys, it's probably going to be a matter of minutes, or seconds, in fact. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay, so the passengers are finally boarded. Right, let's go ahead and close all the doors. Like so. It's currently 9:19. And we are due to depart at 9:25 Zulu, so let's go ahead and request startup.
Ryanair
Auto throttle.
Request startup and pushback.
Fuel pumps, hydraulics, anti-collision, wheel well can come off.
Ryanair 3187.
Ground equipment we can get rid of. We can get GSX to push us back. We're going to be going tail right today. I'm going to put the first FMC onto the takeoff ref page. There we go. Just make sure those values are already calculated, which they are. And the second FMC we can set onto the legs page.
Good day, sir. Just waiting for some apron traffic while the duck's position. Be pushing back in a couple of minutes.
Looking good.
Break on, please.
Nice Ryanair livery on the GSX gear. The stairs as well.
Lock in the gear.
And any time now.
Tuck is in position, bypass pin is inserted. Apron's now clear, ready to push. Release parking brakes, please.
Brakes released.
Clear behind, commencing push.
Engine 2.
Engine's clear, start at your discretion.
Looking for 25%. And about there will do it for me. There's the cutout. Engine 1. And it's the same procedure, looking for 25%. In fact, I think we'll just go for it. There we go. And there's the cutout on engine 1.
Push now complete, set parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes are set. Right, okay, so before taxi, probe heats, APU power, engines to continuous, APU bleed off, APU off, packs. We can go ahead and set the takeoff flaps. And the trim, which is about that, that's fine. Down come the flaps there. And we can do a quick full left, full right, just as those flaps come down. And a full forward, full back, and full left on the rudder, and full right on the rudder. There we go.
Tap disconnected and clear, bypass pin is removed.
Just wait for the tug to get out of the way. There he is. So we can request permission to taxi to the runway, I believe.
Ground Ryanair 3187. Request taxi.
Ryanair 3187, taxi via Hotel Foxtrot Delta
Left is
Kilo
clear.
Charlie
Right is
Alpha
clear.
to runway 05 left.
Via Hotel Foxtrot Delta Kilo Charlie Alpha to runway 05 left. Ryanair 3187.
Right, okay, perfect. So we'll wait while this guy gets out of the way. And then we should be able to switch on the taxi and turn off lights.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. If you haven't already done so, we request that you stow your luggage and take your seat so we can have an on-time departure.
In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Lovely airport by UK 2000. Always enjoyed flying into and out of Manchester. So if we look on EFB, this is where we are right now. We're going to basically follow this taxiway, so Golf, Juliet, Bravo, Juliet, whatever it is, Kilo, all the way over here onto Alpha, and we're going to basically go in at this entrance instead of this one. Not sure why, but we'll do it anyway. So, without further ado, let's just put the moving map on EFB so I can see where we are. We're going to release the parking brakes, a little bit of acceleration. And we are on our way. On this gorgeous sunny day. So we're already a little bit late. It's 9:26 Zulu. We should have departed at 9:25. It's not a great deal, but I would have liked to get us out of here as a little bit sooner. And here is the classic MrYorkiesWorld trying to taxi and follow the taxi line, which doesn't always work out. It's not a great distance to travel, but I'm not a fan of it when we've got insanely wavy taxi lines. I'm well known for being not the best. So before we go ahead and skip ahead to when we get to the runway threshold, feel free to check out flightsim.com. This is where I will be doing a lot of reviews for them as of late. Of different types of scenery that I'm lucky enough to get my hands on, and they're an absolutely fantastic website for scenery, for add-ons, for tools, for aircraft. So head over to flightsim.com or store.flightsim.com, the links to which will be in the description. Very, very excited. I've not actually flown into the Madrid scenery as of yet. I've only really done a few bits and pieces on the ground in light aircraft just to take a look around and see how it all works and stuff like that. So to actually fly into it today and to be able to do a review at the end of this video, it will be a separate video, but to be able to do that is absolutely fantastic. So anyway, oh, we're actually following the line. That's a shock. I will catch you with you guys a little bit later on once we are ready to depart. Okay guys, so like I said, a matter of seconds it takes in a video, in the magic of video editing, but for me it takes a little bit longer, and we're finally here at the threshold for runway 05 left, or one of the thresholds for 05 left.
3187, tower 118.62.
118.62, Ryanair 3187.
So let's just contact tower.
Tower Ryanair 3187. Holding short of runway 05 left.
Ryanair 3187, line up runway 0.
And we can line straight up.
Lining up runway 05 left, Ryanair 3187.
Wonderful. Try not to mess it up.
Ryanair 3187, wind 05.
Okay, so
runway 05 left, cleared for takeoff.
So clear for takeoff, transponder, landing lights, taxi lights off, strobe lights on. Start the clock.
Speedbird 1386, clear to land runway 0.
40%.
Slow to final approach speed. QNH 1019er.
Clear to land runway 05 right.
And toga.
QNH 1019er. Speedbird 1386.
Looking stable. Airspeed's alive. $80 knots. V1. And rotate. Nice and gently. Positive rate, gear up. And see you later, Manchester. Look at the effects. Wonderful, wonderful effects. And lovely scenery as well.
Ryanair 3187, with you passing 900 for flight level 70.
Going to pitch the nose up a little bit. 7,000 feet is the initial altitude. I am going to go ahead and arm LNAV and the autopilot. 7,000 feet spammed. Gear is off. Auto brake off. Runway turn-offs off and engines to the off position. We can set the seatbelts to auto. Look at those effects. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. So we can go to flaps 1. And we can even bring all those flaps all the way up.
Right turn to heading 125, climbing to flight level 200, Ryanair 3187.
So what have they just asked us to do? So we're turning right, that's fine, we don't need to do that. Flight level 200. That's that spammed. Absolutely lovely. Again, we're using Orbex Global, England, and Vector with the OpenLC Europe as well. So I'm hoping that helps a little bit to make things look as realistic as they can. But look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And there we have Manchester Airport in the distance. We can go to standard.
Right turn to heading 225, climbing to flight level 200, Ryanair 3187.
We can bug up the current heading.
Departure Ryanair 2535, with you passing flight level 12.
Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous.
Ryanair 2535.
Magnificent scenery.
Descending to flight level 70, Ryanair 2535.
There goes 9,000 feet. And here comes 10,000. We can go ahead and switch off the landing lights now. Seatbelts off. And there we have it. Nice headwind of, by the looks of it, 15 knots.
Ryanair 7543.
So with that, I will catch up with you guys. I'm going to leave you with some cinematics, and I will catch up with you a little bit later on into the flight. See you in a bit. Okay guys, so perhaps those cinematics were a little shorter than I expected. However, here we go. We are over some land again. And if we look on EFB, you can see that we're actually approaching our next waypoint, which is Titan. And then we're going to basically begin very shortly after that the approach. So the arrival is going to be for ILS 18 right, so 18 right ILS Zulu. Lalpi is the transition, and the actual star is going to be the Orbi 4 Alpha, as we discussed on departure. Now this is basically the approach, pretty straightforward, quite a mountainous area, or terraneous area, or it's basically got a lot of terrain, as you can see. Currently it says we're about 29 minutes away from landing. We're supposed to land at 11:48 Zulu, and if we reference that to the progress page, it says 11:52 Zulu. So depending on whether the FMC is more accurate than EFB, I've no idea, but around 11:52 is when we're supposed to touch down. We're going to be using auto brake number 2. The approach information is already set in. We've got ILS 110.70 in both nav radios. We're going to be using flaps 30 at 139 knots, obviously plus 5 for the wind. So 110.70, 181 is the frequency. We've already got the course set to 181, and obviously the ILS frequency in there as well. At any minute now, or in fact soon, we should, because this is the 150 mile radius ring, we should be receiving a message from ATC to tell us to begin our descent. It's been an hour and 48 minutes so far on this flight, and I really am enjoying the scenery. Look at this. Look how gorgeous that looks. In fact, I would say this could potentially be thumbnail worthy. And if we look on the right side, same situation. Absolutely gorgeous. So what I will do, in fact, is manually request descent.
RYR3187, descend to flight level 240.
Okay, so 240.
240, Ryanair 3187.
And we should begin that descent. Let me just zoom out a little bit. So if you look on here, we've got 150, 150, which are radius rings around the airport, just in case we need to do a little bit of a go around and we're not sure where we are and we need to know how far away we are, etc, etc. Obviously Pro ATCX will tell us that anyway, but there we go. So with that, we've got the barrel set, we've got radio set to 200, so that'll hopefully tell us the minimums when it is actually minimums, but if not, we'll have to deal with it. So nevertheless, I will catch you with you guys a little bit later on into the approach when we will be landing, or preparing to land this aircraft. Okay guys, so we've actually had a change of runway. We are now going to be landing on ILS 32 right, or ILS Zulu 32 right, which is a slightly different approach. As you can see, we have begun that approach now. And the blue line is essentially the approach. I thought something was a bit fishy because they asked us to descend to 8,500, and as you can see, it's a very terraneous area. So the original approach would have been very unusual and quite dangerous. So I thought, yeah, something's going to happen here, and they have actually told us to change our approach, evidently because of the weather. So let's go ahead and switch on these lights. We can switch on the seat belts as well. And everything else seems to be configured. We are still going to be using auto brake 2. We can arm the speed brake. Our final approach speed, drag is required, that's fine. 109.10 on the frequencies. And of course the course has changed to 323. Which is 323 up there. So the maximum speed at the moment, I can't see any speed restrictions. So I'm just going to go based on what ATC tells us to do. If they tell us to slow down, we'll slow down. But nevertheless, we should be okay. Nice long runway as well, so I might actually choose to go with auto brake 1. We'll change that to auto brake 1. We're still going to be at flaps 30 at 138, which is 143 with the wind compensation included. And here we are at 8,500 coming up. So with that, and with that change in mind, I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on once we're actually ready to begin our final approach. Okay guys, so you can see we've just been cleared down to 5,000 feet. We can rearm the spoilers. Nearly forgot what they were called then. Definitely spoilers. It's been 2 hours and 26 minutes. It's a little bit over what we should have taken on this flight. But nonetheless, we can bug up the heading.
Iberia 3301, contact tower on 118.07.
I'm going to go to flaps 5, I think. Just going to reduce that speed down to 230. And you can see, this is the decel zone, so we need to be slowing down anyway. They're the ILS feathers. So we're at flaps 5. I think I'll try and extend flaps 10 in a few moments. Once we make this left-hand turn.
Ryanair 3187.
Ryanair 3187.
I have no idea what I've just been told to do. I will assume that that was some sort of glitch with Pro ATCX. Go to 220 now. It is a rather mountainous area, or a hilly area at that. Lovely ground textures. And the actual airport is over there somewhere.
Speed to 170 knots. Iberia 3301.
Now I'm going to reduce down to flap 10 speed. In fact, we can go for 190. There's flap 10.
Ryanair 3187, descend to 5,000.
Descending to 5,000. Ryanair 3187.
We're already at 5,000. And here we go on the final turn of this approach. Just waiting for that localizer to come in, which it is doing.
Iberia 3301, maintain present altitude.
Maintain present altitude.
I'm going to go VOR lock.
301.
Look at that, absolutely gorgeous. You can sort of make out the runway ahead. Just there. Very, very long final. A little bit of stuttering going on with the scenery. I'm not sure why that's occurring, but nevertheless. $2,500 checked. Still waiting for confirmation from Tower. And it looks like we've got a bit of a crosswind as well, 10 knots. Nice and challenging. Here comes the glide slope.
Iberia 3301, descend to 4,000.
Descending to 4,000, Iberia.
Approach mode.
301.
Tower, Ryanair.
Here we go.
3187. On final, request landing. Runway 32 right.
RYR3187. Slowed 160. QNH 1016. Cleared to land. Runway 32 right.
Cleared to land, so gear down and flaps 15.
1016. Cleared to land. Runway 32 right. Ryanair 3187.
We'll go for flap 25.
Tower, Iberia 3301. Stop runway 32 left.
Iberia 330.
And we'll go for flap 30.
Runway 32 left. QNH 1016.
Clear to land, runway 32 left. QNH 1016. Iberia 3301.
Frames aren't perfect, but it is actually quite a detailed airport, so that could be the reason why. Definitely got a lot of stutter going on. Not too happy about that. Nevertheless, looking good on the Pappies. 2 hours and 33 minutes so far. It's 12:05 Zulu. We should have landed at 11:40. And we've definitely got a strong wind now. 14 knots crosswind. I really do hope I don't have to go around. Gonna leave it while the last minute to disconnect. There's 1,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and arm the second autopilot. Should have done that earlier. And I should have done this earlier as well. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect. I have control.
Approaching minimum. Minimum.
Continue. Little bit of a floater. Touchdown. Idle reverse. 80 knots, manual braking.
121.75. Ryanair 31.
Let's engage the auto brake. And welcome everybody to Madrid, where the local time is, I'm not sure, but 12:08 is Zulu. Take this rapid exit. A little bit of stutter. Hate it when the sim does that. And here we are on Kilo 4. So we already know the gate that we're going to be arriving at, which is Tango 11. I will plug that in a few seconds. Let me just get rid of the flight directors. And we can also kill the transponder frequencies. And let's just advise ATC.
Route Ryanair 3187 is cleared of the runway. Request taxi to parking.
Start the APU.
Via Echo Foxtrot 12 to Gate Tango 11 Ryanair 31.
Right, okay, what I'm going to do is take a quick look at those replays before we go any further. And we'll see what sort of landing that was. We did a bit of a float, but we'll take a look. Right, okay guys, so that was a pretty decent landing actually. I was happy with that. I would call that butter, but I will leave it to everybody else to be the judge. Nevertheless, let's just go to the landing checklist, after landing checklist. So transponder, all of that's off and transferred over. The APU has been started. Let me just set this to a random frequency just to get rid of that. There we go. Right, so probe heats, they can come off. The strobe lights can go to steady. And with that, I think we're okay. We can transfer to the gate. Right. So taxi, and it's gate Tango 11. Let's just have a look on EFB. Tango 11. It's a pretty long taxi, to be honest. If we take a look on EFB, we've essentially got to go from here all the way across to Tango 11, which is going to take a while. Right. Parking brakes released. We can lift up all the flaps, get rid of those. They're on the way up. And once again, welcome everybody to Madrid, where, although I'm happy with the scenery, I've got to admit it does take a lot of frames up for a very unknown reason, very much unknown reason. I even turned down the settings a little bit in the sim prior to arriving to try and compensate for any loss of frames, but for some reason we seem to have a great decrease in frames, specifically on landing. On final it was like 20 something, so I'm not sure whether that's something sim related or whether it's related to the scenery itself or the settings of the scenery. But nonetheless, this is the airport. Absolutely fabulous. You can sort of tell why it takes up a lot of frames, to be honest, because look at the detail. Very, very detailed airport. Lovely surrounding area. It's quite big as well. If you take into account this is obviously, I think it's the main airport in Spain, is Madrid Barajas, or LEMD. So I would say they've done a fantastic job. SimWings, Aerosoft, whoever it is. I always get mixed up when it comes to the publishers and stuff like that. But nonetheless, I am happy with it. It is flyable. I mean, look at that. It's definitely usable. There's nothing in here that screams, I don't want to buy this, and I wouldn't buy this, because it's just fantastic. So, we forgot to stop the clock. So it actually took 2 hours and around, we'll say 45, because the last minute's been spent with me talking and taxiing, so we should have stopped the clock straight away. But around 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it should have only taken 2 hours and 15. But because we had to be vectored around, because of runway changes and stuff like that, and the wind, we had a 40-knot headwind on departure from Manchester, so that could have had something to do with the extra time taken there. I will be doing a review shortly after making this video of the scenery, and I will be posting that review over as a written version of it on the flightsim.com website. Again, if you want to check that website out, flightsim.com or store.flightsim.com, absolutely fantastic guys over there, and they were kind enough to provide me with a copy of this scenery for good old Madrid. So I would highly recommend anybody who wants awesome add-ons, scenery, tools and stuff like that, head over there and see what they've got. And as we head over here towards a terminal building, or one of the terminal buildings, look at the detail on that. I mean, I can sort of zoom in, but I'm using chase plate. There we go. The detail on that. Now, how on earth do I zoom back out? I think that's it. I think that's what I did. We'll leave it at that. But some fantastic scenery. So without further ado, you'll see more of this scenery, obviously, when it comes to the actual review itself. So don't worry about that if you're not seeing very much throughout this video. I'm going to catch up with you guys in a few minutes, because we've got a large distance to cover around this airport. It's a huge airport until we get to Tango 11. So I shall catch up with you guys in a few minutes. Okay, so Tango 1-1 appears to be taken up by another aircraft, and if that aircraft is still there, then we may have to use a different gate, which is going to be a bit of an annoyance, but Tango 5 might have to be the gate that we use. So Tango 1-1, so revoke parking preferences or privileges. And we're going to have to use Tango 5, which is a heavy gate. What about Tango 6? Or we've got Tango 8. We'll use Tango 8. It is a large gate, but I'm pretty sure we can sort that out. We're supposed to use a different gate, but unfortunately that gate was stolen from us by another aircraft. We've got Tango 8. Let me just correct that on EFB. So Tango 8. Here we go. So we've got a lot of Wizz Air aircraft. We've obviously got Ryanair as well. So we're in the right place. But we just need to find Tango 8. Lovely airport, absolutely fantastic. The frames are just not very good. So I'm going to do this nice and early. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the taxi and turn off lights. And I'm also going to transfer the power from the APU. So Tango 1-1 is basically there somewhere. It's where we should have been parking today. And this one is Tango 9, and the next one should be Tango 8, which is where GSX appears to be there. Right. So let's try not to mess this up. It is indeed a large gate. But we should be okay. Now Ryanair doesn't usually use jetways, so in typical Ryanair fashion, we won't. There we go. Right. Cut the engines. We can get some ground connections on the go. There we go. Passenger signs are off. And we can request deboarding. Now, are we going to get 2 sets of steps? Doesn't look like it, so we're going to have to do that manually. So we've got the second set, but we do need the air stair. Right. Okay. So APU bleed. We can switch off the fuel pumps, switch off the hydraulics. And what else shall we do? ISO valve. Open. In fact, we can switch all the fuel pumps off. Welcome everybody So we're in the sort of the right place. There's Ryanair. Welcome everybody to Madrid. Hope you enjoyed the flight. The frames are pretty bad, but overall this airport is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to do the actual review and make everything official. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. This has been absolutely brilliant to fly into this piece of scenery. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Leave me a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.